Hello everyone. Today I'm gonna be featuring the Pobeda, or the Slava as it's going to be called, the Tier 10 Soviet battleship. First, I want to highlight that I hit 70k followers on Twitch, so we're going to be having some huge giveaway on Twitch in honor of this. Going to be giving away a lot of stuff, but I'll update you guys on more of that later. You can follow my Twitter for updates on that stuff. Now, we're gonna be talking about the Pobeda, the Slava, aka probably one of the most busted ships I have ever seen, and I've been playing this game for too many years. I could talk about a lot of things, but what we're gonna be talking about mostly today is the guns. Yes, the guns. You see that dispersion, you see that distance, you see how far away he is, how angled he is, and you see what the hell I'm doing to him. That's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about this ship, the Pobeda, the Slava. We could talk about the fact that it doesn't have the best health pool at 91.8k. We could talk about the turning circle being very bad. The speed is quite good at 31 knots. The concealment is quite good at 13.2 kilometers. The AA is actually some of the best. We could talk about all of these things if we wanted to, and if we really cared. The armor also, it's 32mm bow, 32mm deck armor, so pretty vulnerable to HE. We could discuss these things, but none of them really matter. Because you never need to get close enough to put yourself in a position where they matter. Because you have the most insane guns in World of Warships ever. And I say this as someone who's seen Stalingrad's all versions of the Stalingrad. These guns are so insane. Now the insanity doesn't come just from the raw damage, it comes from the consistency. For example, here we start by shooting this Charles Martel. You saw we blapped him for what, 18k. He's gonna have a very fun game. And these are not like, it's not just one super rare volleys I'm talking about. I'm talking about constant insanity. Benson pushes into a cap. We see where he is. Once again, you see how far away we are from these targets, and look at that dispersion. That's a destroyer we're shooting at. Destroyers are quite hard to hit for battleships, especially at range. Not for the Pobeda. 5 hits, he ends up dying because someone else shot him at the same time. This insane consistency is insane. I don't know how to call it. The guns are just brutal. They're 406mm, but they have pretty much, I think, the best pen in the game. They have better penetration than Yamato. I guess they forgot a 0 because Yamato has 460mm guns. You have 406, but your penetration is still better than Yamato's penetration. Your shell velocity is absurd, 870 meters per second, and there's practically no air drag either. So, well, they're railguns. They cross across the map in no time. So, and that's of course not the worst part. The worst part is the dispersion. Look at that dispersion. That's the same Charles Martel we shot just earlier. We shot him earlier for 18k. Oh, whoops, that's the next volley on him. It took a total of 2 volleys to absolutely delete him from the server. And this is the same game. I'm just jumping forward in the same game to show you that these are not like these rare volleys that happen 1 every 10 games. This is still the very same match that we're playing here. The very same example match. We catch an Iowa showing broadside. Well, I thought Iowas was supposed to be somewhat hard to Citadel. Certainly not for this thing. We Amagi behind the island. You see that he's actually quite angled behind that island. So should be a hard shot. Nah, not really. Not for the Pobeda. Citadels him. One of our turrets hit the island, so we actually only shot him with 6 guns. Still blapped him. You see a carrier across the map on the horizon, sailing away, islands away. And I say this as someone who absolutely hates carriers. This is still so absolutely busted beyond belief. Like, he's lucky that he started turning out a bit. He got away with only eating 3 citadels across the map. It doesn't matter what target you shoot. Conqueror, whoops, is that a Conqueror giving us broadside? But Flamu, Conquerors, they don't deal that much damage. Well, clearly you have never faced the Pobeda, or you've never faced the Slava, because the Slava doesn't care what the hell it's shooting at. What was that, 40k volley on the Conqueror, including a Citadel? Like, did you see the shell hits as well? Insane. The AP damage, the AP per Citadel damage is 13,450, which is very high, which is also why you do so much damage. Even ships you don't really Citadel, across the map, if they give you any sort of broadside, the dispersion is so consistent. That was what, 8 hits out of 9, 24k damage. I've hit Grosse Kurfürst with 30k. There's like Twitch clips of that stuff. And the shell velocity, because it's so fast and the air drag is so existent, ships that are used to juking your shells, like the Sentry here, he sits, he waits until I shoot, and then he tries to accelerate out of the way. Well, sorry, doesn't work against Stalin-blessed shells. It's simply not possible. I mean, you can evade them, but it certainly is some of the hardest shells in the game to evade. And you can try to angle in against them as well. You can try angling like this guy. He's angling. He's like, aha, they're only 406mm. This will render me immune to damage. But the problem is I can target his superstructure because the dispersion is so pinpoint accurate that even on an angled battleship, I can just do massive damage to him. And we can actually... I've gotten some of the most absurd citadels in this thing. That's an NC. You see how angled it is? You see how far away he is? You see how he's sailing away from us? Do you think the Pobeda cares? Do you think the Pobeda cares at all? Shooting down some planes because the AA is also some of the best at tier 10. Look at that dispersion. Yeah, Pobeda doesn't care about that, the angled NC. Pobeda really doesn't care about a whole lot of things that you're fighting. Like... cruisers, DDs, battleships, Pobeda does not care. Zhao, we see a Zhao come popping up behind the island. You see that? Oh, he sees us. He's looking our way. He's already pretty angled. I bet he's even gonna react when we shoot him. That will surely save him from damage, right? We shoot. He's shooting. He's like, uh-oh, there's AP coming in from battleship. Better turn away. Let's rudder shift away. But my shells are there across the map in such fast time that even when he's angled, we still blap him. It's absurd. Like I've been treating this ship as an absolute meme because this is the very definition of Soviet bias. This is the absolute meme version of a ship that you absolutely never see live play. Alaska, nose in angle. That thing has 36mm deck armor, by the way. Should be able to bounce our AP, but we can hit the nose. So, oh, whoopsie daisy. 8 out of 9 hits on an angled cruiser miles away. No problem for the Pobeda. Even worse is that the dispersion formula on the ship is designed so that the further away from the target you are, the better your accuracy is. The closer you get, the worse your accuracy becomes. So obviously, you want to sit as far away as possible. They're literally encouraging long-range sniping, which makes absolutely no sense. And that of course renders many of these weaknesses we spoke about that this thing has. It actually has a pretty elevated citadel, like most Soviet ships. It's got 32mm deck armor. All these weaknesses, well, they're not really that big of a deal when the ship becomes stronger the further away it is. Like, it doesn't really care. Pobeda really doesn't care. This ship is absurd. And I don't really, like, in general, I don't believe too much in Soviet bias. Like, who really thinks Kaba is overpowered anymore? And what about Tashkent, Udaloy? Ognevoy is garbage. Like, Shores, you can literally citadel that thing with the DD. Like... Donskoy, even Moskva. Does anyone really think Moskva is particularly overpowered? No, but sometimes wargaming, they just do these most absurd versions of these ships, like we've seen Stalingrad, and now we're seeing Pobeda, and I don't know what they were thinking with this thing. This thing is horrendous. Not only is it brokenly overpowered because of this gun performance, but it's also the worst game design ever. We've been trying so hard and so long to get our battleship players to push in, and then they add the CV rework, which makes basically everyone just sit and spawn and camp, and now they are trying to add a battleship that benefits from sniping from the very back line. I'm sorry, what? Like, are they even playing the game? This is by far the worst design of a ship I have seen, and I hope this ship absolutely never ever becomes live, because it's horrendous to play against. This ship, if you can aim, like if you have good aim, and I've been playing this game for a long time, I consider my aim to be fairly consistent and fairly steady. I know where to aim on ships, even extremely far away. And in my hands, this ship is horrendously broken. And you know there are plenty of players who can aim just as well as I can. Plenty of players have played this game for a long time, and all of them, when they play the ship, they will be dumpstering, like absolute dumpstering everything across the map. The amazing shell velocity, no air drag, fantastic penetration, fantastic dispersion. Oh, did I mention it has that Soviet special thing with the 30-second turret traverse? That, for some reason, the Soviet BBs are able to turn their turrets in 30 seconds. Look how angled that Zhao is! Look how far away he is! How? How? How is that a double citadel? It's busted. The ship is so incredibly busted. It makes no sense whatsoever. I really hope this ship will never ever see the light of day. I'm not even gonna go into detail on the ship because please Wargaming, I told you on the Belfast, I told you on the early versions of the Conqueror, I've been telling you a lot of things and you've been ignoring it, but please, for the sake of the quality of this game, please do not ignore our feedback on this busted ship. Please do not let the Pobeda see the live servers as it is. This is dumb. This is so dumb. Yes, I ate some torpedoes. Oh no, I'm still gonna win this game. I end up with like 4 kills or something. 200k damage used to be something of an achievement. In the Pobeda, it's your average game. Anyway, I will talk to you guys later. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope to see you guys for some of the big giveaways. I will update you later if you follow Twitter, Discord, whatever. Classic sellout Flamu. I'll talk to you later. Goodbye, my dudes.